guys, so in today's video I'm going to show you guys how I make my thumbnails. I'm just going to take you guys along with me. So I primarily have two types of thumbnails I usually make. One is more for like videos where I'm showing you guys how to edit a certain thing. So that's not me showing my face in a video or anything, it's just a screen recording. And the second one is usually me sitting down or just showing something on a phone or talking to you guys, whatever. So that is the two types of thumbnails I primarily make. So I'm just going to show you guys both in case you're wondering. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing in this video. Just quickly show you guys like how I make my thumbnails. I think my plan of action for this is I'm going to be quickly taking photos for the thumbnail for this video for how I make my thumbnails, and then I'll just shoot two birds with one stone and actually show you guys how I make my thumbnail by making the thumbnail for this video. So I think that's the best plan of action right now. So right now I need to go to the studio, clean it up a bit because it's very messy. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and take some photos, and then I'll find one that I like and show you guys how I edit it. Okay, so now I'm gonna be quickly taking a thumbnail. So I have kind of the setup right now for this. I hope this looks okay, I really do. But let's just take a thumbnail real quick and see like what we can do with it. I literally curled my hair this morning, it's all gone. Okay, maybe in that whole span of photos there's something that could work. I just realized I haven't been wearing my glasses, so I'm gonna quickly get my glasses and then I'm gonna start editing because blue light blocking and bad eyesight and all that. Sorry for the bad lighting at the moment, it's just kind of because I'm setting up for the next shot. You'll see when it switched to the main camera. But I'm going to quickly transfer the files that I just took of the thumbnail to my camera, or to my laptop, sorry. And then I'm going to quickly like go through the clip, find the shots that I think look the best. I'm going to quickly show you guys like how I do that as well. So I'm going to go, let me just start the screen recording on my laptop. Okay, so I'm going to quickly transfer the files from my laptop over, or from this SD card over to my laptop. Which one is it? I always have a projects folder, and in there is all the projects that I'm busy with, and then I transfer them over to my SSD when I'm done, because my laptop's only 256 gigabytes, and Final Cut Pro takes a lot of space. So I'm going to call this folder How I Make My Thumbnails. Okay, and I'm just going to transfer that clip real quick from the SD card into this folder. It's one of these three, so I'm not sure which one it is. I'm just going to transfer all three of them. Okay, now what I usually do is I go into Final Cut, and it's probably like wondering, why are you going to Final Cut for a thumbnail? You'll see. Let me just create a new library here real quick. I can't type. Okay, so now I have a project. I'm going to quickly import that video that I made with the where I'm just like posing the entire time. That's why I primarily take thumbnails, is I just make like pose in front of the video and then I just take snapshots. It's just, I feel like the easiest way for me to do it. And I'm really awkward posing in front of other people, so it's just easier for me to like do that. Okay, so here is the clip. Import that, and then I'm just gonna quickly add a LUT over it. The LUT I always use. I'll see if I can find it. I'm pretty sure I linked it in my how I film and edit video as well. It's this one here called Orange Dolphin. This is what it looks like when it's on like full blast. And let's just bring that down a bit and then just bring it up a little bit, just so it looks like I'm not as pale as a ghost, because I can look very pale if I want to. I'm not too fond of the lighting of this clip, but it's fine. We'll see what we can do with it. It's just the thumbnail, is at least not like my talking part. So I'm just gonna quickly find my snapshot that I like. This is the most awkward clip of me. If you were to put this video on the internet, it's cringy of seeing like how I'm trying to pose. It's just me like. Okay, I got like 2 out of like a 2-minute clip of me posing. Let me just see if I'm actually happy with them. I mean, yeah, they're pretty good. So we're gonna switch over to this camera again. I can pull out the SD card. I could have done that a while ago, but I forgot. I'm gonna pull out the SD card and let's switch over to this camera over here. So yeah, like I said, I use Photoshop to edit my thumbnails. I really have been enjoying it. This is the first year I've been using it. I've been using it since January when I went full time. And yeah, it's really been my favorite thing that I've purchased, really. It's just such a big difference from other thumbnail editing softwares. And I'm someone coming from Procreate to Photoshop, so yeah, it was kind of a learning curve, but so much things that are made available to you then. So let me just quickly show you guys what I do. Okay, so we're in Photoshop now. Here you can see some of the thumbnails that I've made, and you can get kind of an idea what my thumbnails usually look like. So like I said, I have two main types of thumbnails. I have the one for editing and the one for sit down videos. So this is an example for editing types of videos, and this is an example for sit down videos, this or these all. And I kind of have a set system like that I usually go through for these that you can kind of expect to see from me and my things. Obviously they're here and there are exceptions and things. There are a few things that I do almost in every single thumbnail. So for editing, I'm just going to quickly do the editing. This is very easy and it's not very too in-depth. I'm going to quickly go through the editing one, and then we're going to start editing the thumbnail I just made or just took. So for instance, this one here is a good example. So I have 5 things that I usually add on thumbnail editing or editing thumbnails. So the first thing I usually have is my background. So let me just disable everything. So this is my background here. I get a bunch of images off Pinterest that look aesthetic to me. So I don't like using solid backgrounds. I did that for a while and I can't stand the solid background anymore in my videos. So I get a cool photo and then I add a Gaussian blur over it. So you just go to filter, blur, and then Gaussian. It's just the best one, I think, that looks the best, and then I just fit it to like however I want it to be. And then usually I'll start adding my text. So here is my text. And with text I have a few fonts that I usually use. So my most used font is Sunrise International. I actually bought the license for it just because I use it so much and it's just my favorite one. So that's this one here. So I absolutely love using this font on my thumbnails. You see it in most thumbnails. Then this font is also one I often use. This is Shoreline Script Bold. It's a free font. I just got it off the font.com and I also use that. And this font that I use here, I don't use often, but when I do, I really like the result. And it's called River Drive. It's a very big font. So you can also get it off the font.com. It's a very big font. What that means is the processing power it takes to use this font. Sometimes your app will crash or something, because when I was editing my phone in Fonto, it struggled to handle this font. I don't know why, what's the thing behind this font, but it is a big processing power font. I don't know. But you'll see something that I do throughout my whole thumbnail thing is text are usually, not all the time, but 9 out of 10 times have this kind of 3D look because I always bevel and emboss my text. I did this when I was editing on Affinity Photo, which is also a very, very good alternative to Photoshop, especially if you're like on iPad or something. I love Affinity Photo for that. But there you have the option for 3D text, and here bevel and emboss is kind of the same thing, not entirely, but kind of has the same concept. So it just gives this effect that make the text look like it stands out more. Sorry, I'm dribbling over my words. So that's something I usually do. So for text, bunch of fonts that I usually use, and then I also just have my bevel and emboss that I usually put over my text. I'll put a list on the screen of my most used fonts that I usually use in my videos, just so you guys have kind of an idea if you're interested in downloading some of those fonts for yourself. But yeah, then for editing things, so we have 2 things now. We have the background, we have the text. Then I very often add paint splashes. So this is what it looks like. Here you can see I have a whole folder consisting of different paint swatches and things, just to make some text stand out a bit more. I do that on my other thumbnails as well, but mostly on these thumbnails. I make these paint swatches on Procreate. I make these paint swatches on Procreate with an artistic brush. I can't remember the name. I'll have the name of the brush on the screen. It's one that comes with Procreate, and I just make these and then just use them in my thumbnails. I just find they help with making things stand out more sometimes. Okay, so that's now 3 things: the text, the background, and the paint swatch. Then I have my iPhone with a iPhone PNG over it, just so you can see what the video is about. That's pretty straightforward. And then the other thing, the 5th thing, is just usually either like this is a very popular thing you'll see in my thumbnails for editing videos, or just any type of video, is this mouse clicker thing. I just like the look of it. Or just any other elements that I feel like maybe looks good with this, or maybe like an app logo if I'm showing a certain app or something. So that's primarily how I edit my editing type videos, thumbnails. So that's that. I'm not going to go too in depth anymore. I just want to get to the other thumbnail now because it's a bit more in depth and complicated. So let's get to that. So I'm going to go here on create new, and then I have this custom one here which is already 1280 by 720, which is the thumbnail size. Go on that, click on create. Okay, so now I have my blank canvas here. I'm going to import those 2 images that I have of my snapshot for my thumbnail. I usually have like 1, 2, or 3, try them all out and see which one looks best, so that might take a while. But I feel like I've gotten very faster at editing thumbnails. A while it took me like an hour, but now I can easily do it like 15 minutes, half an hour, depending on the thumbnail. But I've gotten way quicker at like editing thumbnails. So we have this one and this one. We'll see which one I like more. I'm gonna edit both of them and then just sense what I have. So let's go with the first one first. What I do, I have my background here, I duplicate this layer, and then I have 2 of the same photos in a layer. What I do then is I'm gonna go to my selection tool here, and I'm gonna drag over myself, and it's gonna roughly outline my figure, whatever. This doesn't have to be too precise because I'm keeping the background, so it kind of makes it so it doesn't have to be too precise, because if I had like a blank white background behind me, that might make it a bit more difficult. You'll see what I mean. I don't have to be too perfect with this selection, but this is not it. So then I usually just go to select and mask, and try to fix it up as much as I can using the edge detection tool, going around the edges. I don't know, sometimes I think I put too much effort into this because sometimes it doesn't really matter, but I try to be as neat as possible to get the best result. This is probably the hardest thing about taking thumbnails for my side, which is the black side, because my hair often with this selection tool blends into the background. It's really hard to not have it detected as a background, I believe. Okay, so this is good enough. As you can see, it mostly cut out everything that I wanted. And now we're gonna click on done. Sometimes I do the decontaminate colors, but yeah, I don't think it's necessary for this case. And then I'm gonna click on OK, and then I'm gonna click on the mask option here. Okay, so now we have 2 versions of me on this thumbnail. We have one that is a cutout and one which is the background and me still intact. So white, cutout, me with background. So why I did this whole cutout thing is I like to add an outer glow to myself, basically, on my thumbnails, because I feel like it just adds more to the blank, or not blank, but like plain-ish background. So I'm just going to quickly show you guys an example. So here, for instance, you can see I have kind of like a bluish glow. I usually go with the color of my lights because they already add some of that color in. I just add a little bit more just to make it stand out a bit more. And here, an example of like something that's like an object. So I had my iPad, which I added an outer glow to. I just feel like sometimes it makes things stand out a bit more. So yeah, now I'm gonna quickly add an outer glow to this cutout of myself. So I'm gonna go to effects here, go to outer glow, and here you can see it's set to the color I last used. I can't remember what that was for. And then I'm gonna go to color here. Okay, just don't mind the dogs and the ice cream man driving by, but so I'm gonna quickly make this purple. I'm gonna try to match it as much to that purple at the back there. It's a bit bluish. Yeah, that makes it look better. I feel like this is a bit harsh, so I'm just gonna make it a bit less. Now I'm thinking something here has to relate to thumbnails specifically, because right now it just looks like I'm like, hi. So I'm thinking of adding a Photoshop logo in, and maybe a screenshot of my Photoshop. I'm gonna quickly add in that screenshot that I just took. So I'm gonna import that. I think I'm gonna put this screenshot between the layer of my cutout and the layer of my background. So now you can just see me like that. But what I wanna do now is I'm gonna lower the opacity of this screenshot. So I'm gonna go to opacity, lower it a bit. I literally chose the hardest thumbnail to show you guys in today's video. But here you can see, I go back and forth when editing thumbnails. It's not just one go. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's just a cutout of me and some text. But now it's a bit more complicated because I need to show you guys I'm editing thumbnails. So I'm trying to go for something like this. So here you can see on how I film and edit my videos, I did kind of something similar where I had my final cut here. And then I had my software and everything. I'll have this video in the iTop if you want to check it out. Maybe I should just go with that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, I'm thinking of adding a white border around myself, which is a lot of work, and I wasn't really planning on doing that in this thumbnail. I'm gonna quickly speed this up because I don't want to film this entire thing because it's gonna take a while. Sorry, I didn't think this thumbnail was gonna be as complicated to film as it is now because it's a little more complex. I didn't realize it's gonna be this complex. So if you're still in this video, thank you for watching. I'm sorry it's taking so long. Okay, so I just finished doing the path around my face. It took way longer than expected, so I think it took me like 20 minutes, almost half an hour. But I finally finished. So now I'm gonna quickly add some other elements to the thumbnail. So I think I'm gonna add some text, and I'm also gonna add a Photoshop logo. And I believe that's pretty much it. I'm not gonna do too much more, I think. So let's quickly do that. So I'm just gonna add the logo real quick. Okay, now I'm gonna add some text. I usually just type it all out and group whatever I want to be together, so that how I make my and thumbnails is on its own. And now I'm gonna quickly play around with fonts and sizing and everything. Now I'm gonna try to add some bevel and emboss just to make it stand out a bit more. Let's see how I can handle that. Okay, and I'm done. So what I did is, like I showed you guys, I did the whole background thing with the outer glow of myself, then I did the stroke around myself, then I just added my text, add some bevel and emboss, and then I just played around with it, rearranged a few things, added the paint stroke, added the Photoshop logo, and really just played around with like the arranging of everything on the thing. And I made the opacity of the background just a little bit higher of the screenshot, which has all my thumbnails on it, just so you can clearly see some of the thumbnails. It doesn't need to be too like eye-catching, just so you can see like a basics of there's thumbnails behind me. So that's how I make my thumbnails. This video was way longer than expected, way more difficult, but now you can actually see exactly, because some of these things I wouldn't have shown in this video, but now you can see exactly how I tackle like adding a stroke around myself, making me glow, adding like other background to my cutout, just how I arrange text and everything. You got a lot in this video that I usually don't always do in a thumbnail, but this is a more elaborate thumbnail. Hey guys, I just wanted to quickly interrupt before we stop this video. You probably see the thumbnails a bit different than I showed you guys at the end of that clip that you just saw. That's only because, like I mentioned, I have like 2 poses that I had that I wanted to work through, and I just edited the one. But the other one, like I also mentioned, I usually edit both and see which one looks best, and I actually forgot to edit the other one. I edited it last night real quick, and I actually ended up liking that one better. So this is the one that we made, that I showed you guys how I made it with the outline and everything. And this is what I'm actually going to go with for the thumbnail for this video, like you probably saw. So it's, like I said, exactly the same concept. It just has a different pose, and I just put the Photoshop logo in a different position, more centered to the text. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Just so in case you're wondering why the thumbnail that I made isn't the one I used, I just ended up liking the other pose better, and I just did the same thing. Yeah, just so you guys are not like I'm kind of like sus or something. So yeah, just wanted to go in there. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give this video a thumbs up and comment down below any other questions you might have for me. Definitely subscribe by clicking on the icon on the screen. Click on the playlist to see all of my other like YouTube tips and tricks videos. So that's like how I film my videos and other tutorials. And yeah, I guess that's that. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.